Hello and welcome back to English Podcast with Zico. I'm Zico, as always.
And I'm Sarah. We are so happy to have you with us again today.
Absolutely. So, Sarah, today's topic, it's a big one. It's something I think every single learner struggles with at some point.
Oh, definitely. We're talking about making that jump, right? The jump from textbook English to real English.
Exactly. Real conversation practice. How to stop sounding like a robot reading a script and start sounding, well, like you.
Like a real person having a real conversation. It's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
It is. So let's dive into it.
So let's start with the problem. I mean, we all start with textbooks, right? And they're great for grammar, for vocabulary.
Right. For the foundation, you need that.
You totally need that. But there's this moment when you try to have your first real conversation with a native speaker, and it's like, whoa, none of this is in my book.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's the speed, the slang, the messiness of it all. People don't speak in perfectly formed sentences.
No, they interrupt, they use fillers like and like, they trail off.
They use idioms you've never heard before, and you're just standing there like nodding and smiling, hoping they don't ask you a question.
Been there so many times. It's like your brain is trying to process what they said, translate it, form a grammatically perfect response, and by the time you're ready, the conversation has moved on.
It's moved on 3 topics ago. Yeah, that's the thing. Textbooks teach you the rules, but conversations, they're more like a dance. There's a rhythm to it.
A dance. I love that. And you can only learn the steps by actually, getting on the dance floor.
You're gonna step on some toes. You're gonna be awkward at first. But that's the only way. You can't just read about dancing.
Exactly. And I think that's the first hurdle. Just accepting that it's going to be messy and imperfect.
And that right there, that leads into the biggest roadblock for so many people, the fear.
Oh, the fear is real. The fear of sounding stupid.
Yeah, or of saying the wrong thing, offending someone by accident.
Right, or just freezing. You open your mouth and nothing comes out. It's paralyzing.
It is. I had a student once, brilliant guy, knew all the grammar, A+ on every test. But in a group conversation, silence.
What do you think was behind it?
It was just perfectionism. He was so afraid of making a tiny mistake that he preferred to say nothing at all. And I had to tell him, look, native speakers make mistakes all the time. We trip over our words. We use the wrong tense sometimes when we're talking fast.
Totally. I do it all the time. I'll start a sentence and then completely forget where I was going with it.
See? It's normal. Communication is not about perfection. It's about connection. It's about getting your message across, even if it's a little bumpy.
Yes, bumpy is okay. And honestly, most people are so patient and kind. If they see you're trying, they'll meet you halfway. They're not sitting there with a red pen grading your grammar.
Not at all. They're just happy you're talking to them. So the first piece of advice is really a mindset shift. Embrace the mistakes. They're proof that you are trying.
Love that. Mistakes are proof you're trying. That should be on a t-shirt.
Okay, so we've talked about the problem, the fear. Let's get into some practical, actionable stuff. What's tip number 1, Sarah?
Okay, tip number 1 for me is don't just be a passive listener, be an active one. And a big part of that is something called shadowing.
Oh, shadowing. I love this technique. Explain it for anyone who hasn't heard of it.
So it's super simple. You find a short audio or video clip of a native speaker, maybe a podcast clip, hint, hint.
Good one.
And you listen to a sentence. Then you pause it and you try to repeat it exactly as you heard it. Not just the words, but the intonation, the rhythm, the emotion.
The music of the language.
Exactly. You're basically mimicking them. It feels silly at first, but it trains your mouth and your brain to produce the sounds and cadences of natural English.
It's like muscle memory for your mouth, and it really, really works. Okay, what's next, after you've practiced by yourself?
Well, the next logical step is to find someone to practice with, a language exchange partner.
This is huge.
It is. There are so many apps and websites now, like Tandem or HelloTalk, where you can find native English speakers who want to learn your language. So you can, spend 30 minutes speaking English and then 30 minutes speaking their language.
And the great thing about that is they're a learner too, so they get it. They understand the fear, the struggle. There's no judgment.
Zero judgment. It's a safe space to practice and make all those mistakes we were talking about, and you might even make a new friend.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have shadowing, we have language partners. What if someone is like super introverted or doesn't have time for scheduled calls?
Good question. In that case, I'd say immerse yourself in the culture, but do it actively. So don't just watch a movie in English.
Right.
Watch it with the English subtitles on. When you hear a phrase you like or an idiom you don't understand, pause it, write it down, say it out loud.
That's such a good point. Interact with the material. Don't just let it wash over you. Same with podcasts or music. Look up the lyrics, sing along, even if you're off key.
Especially if you're off key. And maybe, this is a small one, but try thinking in English.
Ooh, yes, the internal monologue.
Yeah, instead of narrating your day to yourself in your native language, try doing it in English. Like, okay, now I am going to make a cup of tea. Where is the milk?
It sounds simple, but it forces your brain to access that vocabulary and sentence structure constantly, without the pressure of speaking to another person. It's like a private rehearsal.
It is. It's a private rehearsal for the main show. It just keeps the English part of your brain warmed up and ready to go.
Wow, okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's do a quick recap. So first, we said accept that real conversation is messy.
Right, and that making mistakes is not just okay, it's essential for learning.
Then, for practical tips, we had shadowing to nail the pronunciation and rhythm.
Finding a language exchange partner for safe, real-world practice.
Actively consuming English media, not just watching, but interacting.
And finally, practicing your internal monologue by thinking in English.
I think the main takeaway here is you have to be proactive. Fluency in conversation won't just happen. You have to seek out opportunities to speak, to listen, and to, well, fail.
And to be kind to yourself through the process. It takes time. It's a journey, not a race. Every small conversation is a win.
And that is a perfect note to end on. That's all the time we have for today on English Podcast with Seiko.
We really hope these tips were helpful and maybe gave you a little boost of confidence to go out there and just talk.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us on social media. Just search for English Podcast with Zico.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know which tips you're going to try, or if you have any of your own to share.
Thank you so much for listening. Keep practicing, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone.